I'm back from last video, but it doesn't matter. But anyways, Deku, I'm just gonna freaking skip all the pleasantries and just say, get to the story. Don't need to talk about it. Now Deku's on his bike with a stain on the back, just riding, well, until they hear a massive explosion happen, and they drive towards that, and then Deku's, senses start blaring up, and he actually starts becoming blue flames. Deku starts speeding straight through everything with no difficulty. Well, Deku gets there really quickly. Stain is barely holding on because, Deku is going faster than Stain could hold on. And they get there eventually, Stain going flying off because, and then he just stabs this random thing in the air, then jumps off it. Turns out that it was All For One who just got stabbed. Ooh. Yeah, so it's All For One taking out the knife, and then just chucks it, air pressures it, and stabs it into Stain. Doesn't kill him. He's fine. He just got stabbed in the shoulder and then had to freaking eat that. So Deku then has to body All For One. He was going to do it anyways, but still he's going to have to do it more. Then Deku shoots out a new ability where he just starts flying upwards with his chains, wrapping around All For One's arm, taking it off, but All For One just regenerates it. And then he starts getting all cocky because even thinking Deku weak because all he could do was scratch him to All For One standards. Until Deku flames, then he makes a giant flame, freaking giant explosion flame. I think Sasuke's flame, fireball, phoenix ball, like yeah, the phoenix ball. I can't remember what it's called. The phoenix fireball, and kills them. Then just kills all of them. And almost kills All For One in the process, burning him almost to bone. Actually, to bone. Some parts of his body are bone, but he's fine. He starts regenerating until Deku appears behind him, turning All For One around, and All For One regenerates all of his body parts except his eyes. So Deku helps him in quotation marks, and burns the mesh on his face off. So All For One starts screaming because it was extremely painful. And then he opens his eyes from a very long year, from very long years, and then he gets pen stared immediately when he's able to see. As soon as he's able to see, without blurred, and then he just gets pen stared immediately, and then All For One just starts twitching, body starts freaking burning on the outside and inside for him. So then, All For One is trying to get away. Well, obviously he's not going to be able to get away. He's got the penance there, but since it's All For One, he has a lot of sins, whole bunch of sins. It's going to take a while for him to completely die. And since he keeps regenerating, his body's not decomposing or anything, so he's eternally burning in hell on Earth. Like his feet start becoming like gloopy, and his body starts just melting off the bone. And, of course, Deku is just standing there. Then All For One steps through a portal, and Deku follows him afterwards, because he's, a little pinch right now. So he can't really close and open. So he only opened it. And then immediately just grabbed Shigaraki with his very gloopy bone hand. Just gives Deku a quirk. Then just gives Shigaraki All For One, and then All For One throws him through a portal, using all of its leftover strength to close that portal before Deku could get through it. Then after he stands there, his head collapsing off, and then he just dies. All For One just Deku, to be honest, because now Shigaraki has All For One, and Shigaraki didn't know he could transfer quirks, by the way. So who's Deku is? I'm kidding. He's freaking Ghost Rider. But still, pretty OP quirk, honestly. Oh, why though? Why did I have to see that? Mexico's revolting. Anyways, Deku, then after. Then Deku, after, killing All For One, just walks away. It spawns his bike, then rides back to the destination where All For One is. All Might is, gets there, grabs Stain, and then just leaves. So it just kills the main protagonist, antagonist of My Hero Academia, but it's Ghost Rider. He's not just gonna let this guy live. If he gets a shot, he gets a shot. So now we just get to the overhaul arc, and actually I think it's the area arc, and it's just Stain Shirakumo wanting to have an intervention with Deku with his bot. I really hope the heater is not my heater is not being so loud that you can hear it, because in my hearing right now it's massively loud and I hate it. I'm sorry, but anyways, please ignore this. Please don't catch up. Please don't catch up on the mic. It's gonna catch up on the mic. I already know it. But anyways, Deku goes to. Oh, Deku is now sitting at the intervention table, and they're trying to tell Deku that, are you sure you're in control of your body? Because lately you've been turning blue and forgetting we're even there, and even hurting us. And then Stain shows his arm, bandaged up, and then he unbandages his arm, and then it's completely burned and bubbled over. And then he has to close it back up to make them not vomit. And Deku's. And then, Shirakumo then shows his hand, which has the exact same effect. And Deku then gets shocked about that, with more than Stain, of course. And then says he's gonna have to take a break for a while. And then he goes to sleep. And then we cut to Shirakumo's view. And then he hears about this kid that's being captured by this bad guy, and then knows if that bad guy, if if the if Overhaul isn't defeated now, Deku will wake up and have to deal with it, and probably won't be able to go back into this. He thinks, but Deku could easily go back into this, but he doesn't know that. So they start running towards all. All for overall. So it's punching up. Overhaul sets to send something until he sees two figures in front of the doorway of where he's experimenting with Eri, and then Shirakumo opens a portal, Overhaul falls through it, then he spawns right at the top of the ozone level, and then just starts falling. And then he just burns up and dies. And they pick up Eri and tell her that they're gonna take care of her for now. You're wondering, well, Overhaul just got taken up like a fish. But, yeah, he did. What the f was he supposed to do against Kurogiri? So he kinda got, didn't he? Didn't he now? Teleportation versus something that has to have physical touch with something. I guess you can't be physically touched unless you work extremely hard. Oh, Deku gets to all. Deku then. Let me get back to Deku, who is in his mindscape, talking to, well, in his on fire skeleton state. Now, over uh, the blue flame starts talking about how Deku is killing people who definitely deserve it, like Kurogiri. He didn't say his actual name. Let's take Deku off, telling him it's Shirakumo, and you should know that since we're the exact same person now, correct? Correct. But still, I'm gonna call him the villain that he is, who's killed multiple people in the name of justice, he says. Now, Deku finds well, he then finds Eri next to him doing the exact same thing he's doing. But then he closes his eyes again and goes back into the state. And it shows Shirakumo and saying that they didn't need to take care of Overhaul. That's the entire time, so it kind of pisses them off. But they breathe in and out, saying, well, at least we saved the girl. Then Deku goes back into the mindscape because the ghost didn't want to talk to him, but then Deku had to get back in there, having to talk to the ghost again. The ghost keeps, the fire ghost, the blue fire ghost keeps telling him to fuck off, I don't want to talk, until Deku keeps poking at him, telling him to stop taking control of my brain when I'm trying to work, because I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And then the blue flame says, he becomes a giant demon creature with a skull attached to it, but not a human one, like a very alien one, telling it that it died a long, long time ago, and he let one person go, and that person blew up his entire planet, killing him in turn. And he keeps yelling at Deku, telling him that he doesn't want the exact same thing that happened to this planet. That's why he merged with you, because you looked weak-minded. Until Deku puts his hand on the blue fire ghost, telling it that if that's true, then you're gonna have to leave. Then the fire ghost starts burning up in green flame this time. Then then he starts turning. Then the fire ghost starts turning into a skeleton of its body, and then it dies. Its soul dies, fuses with Deku, and then Deku turns and becomes a green Ghost Rider. I know I just changed the whole Ghost Rider timeline, but this is a what if, and Ghost Rider is different in this dimension. Good job, Deku. Good job. Well, Deku, you got rid of your half. then we skip until the war arc, to where they both and Deku gets onto the battlefield, finding just Shigaraki. Then he just tells Korigiri to open a thing, showing him a piece of paper. Then Korigiri says, "Okay." Then he opens a portal. Deku walks through it into Jean's office because he works at home. He's a artist. The cool thing is his art pieces are made out of his gunk from his Twice clones. So he usually just makes Twice clones, then kills them immediately. Because he doesn't trust his quirk, but he will use it anytime necessary. So then Deku calls in the favor of Twice, and Twice just gets up and says, "I did say I would help." And so Deku walks past. Oh, then Jean walks past Deku going into the portal, telling the blue kid to move, and then the guy moves out the way. Well, Shirako moves out the way, and then Jean puts his knees to the ground, and then just starts shooting off clones of himself. And bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, Jean is just a whole army now. And then guess who gets effed up? Yeah, he Jean just keeps duplicating until then they all climb together and then just become a kaiju against uh, you know Gigantomachia, and then he shoves his fist into him. Then just keeps then the Twice clones eat Gigantomachia from the inside, which just sucks all of his organs. Then he just becomes skin and bone. So he falls over dead. And then the giant Twice kaiju gets freaking up touched and then just disintegrated by actually gets shot through, and all the clones just fall over dead and then turn into mush. That freaking lightning bolt was Shigaraki. Sorry. So they both start. Deku finds then just teleports basically. He actually does teleport, walking straight through the the globe globe. Yeah, he just walks through Shirakumo's portal right in front of him. Picks up, just stabs Shigaraki, telling him, "You're going to pay." Then just flies up into space. Then they just sit there while Shigaraki starts freezing up in space. Well, because he keeps regenerating from it, but until he just can't do it anymore and just dies. Then Deku just chucks him into space. You're wondering why this part was so fast? It's freaking Ghost Rider. I already did all the character beats. He's done. He's all done. He's all good. He's finally as strong as he would have been if this was a regular Ghost Rider. Deku then just falls to the ground, hitting it, getting up, telling Jean, Shirakumo, and Stain that this is probably where it's probably the end, to be honest. What? I don't know. Some chapter of my life, I guess. Alright. They'll say. Alright, now, that's it. That's all I have to do about Ghost Rider as Deku. Well, bye-bye. Very short part, but a gem nonetheless. No, it wasn't. It's ass. Good day.